Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 2-litre EX automatic. See, a petrol car. 63 plate vehicle with just 51,900 miles recorded and a fantastic history, which I think is about 11 stamps in the service book. Very nice car, finished in this gunmetal grey with the optional light leather interior, which looks fantastic in these cars. Go around the car for you. It's a very clean car. This one benefits from having colour-coded front and rear bumpers, which isn't standard on the car and looks really good. Front of the car, very clean. Lights and lenses are clear and intact. No cracks or condensation. Bonnet, very, very clean indeed. Can't see any obvious stone chips. A little bit of minor one, but nothing that jumps out. Near side, very, very smooth in the panel work. Near side front alloy, generally good. A couple of light marks on the car. On the wheel, sorry. Near side rear alloy, again, very good. Flanks the car. Certainly for an 11-year-old car, in fantastic condition. Looking around the back again, you can see you've got the colour-coded bumper on the back. All very, very clean and tidy. And offside, driver's side, very smooth down the panel work. That wasp that attacks me. Offside rear alloy, really good again. Main panel work, very, very nice indeed. It's been kept very nicely, this car. You know, it is its age, but any marks are very minor indeed. It's coming to the back of the car, absolutely enormous boots on the CR-Vs, easy fold rear seats with all the tabs. They are family cars, so they can quite often be very heavily used in the back, yet this has been kept very well indeed. It's coming into the back, wide opening rear doors, leg room which is more like a limousine, front seats except for me, I'm 6 foot tall, so not cheating, and the leatherwork, this gorgeous leather interior, looks absolutely stunning in the car, it really does. Piped leather, piped and carpet mats, really nice as well. Come to the front and the passenger side, very, very clean. Passenger seat in the front there, again in absolutely superb condition. And finally coming to the driver's door card, very nicely. Same with the footwell area there, and driver's seat again for the age of the car is superb. The video makes the seats look slightly odd coloured. They're not. It looks much nicer in the flesh than the videos and photographs, I have to say. So inside the car now, engine's running as always the case. The dash is illuminated. Sweep across it for you. Really lovely interior, kept beautifully. Sat nav working absolutely perfectly. You put the car into reverse. You've got the rear parking camera, which complements the front and rear parking sensors fitted to the car. And carrying on down. Really clean. Let's come to the dash binnacle there, hope you can see 51,962 miles, and there are no warning lights on the dashboard at all whilst the engine's operating. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 2-litre EX automatic. This car is registered WF63YCB, and mileage at the start of the road test is 51,962 miles. The reason we do these videos, very simply, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they get to see the actual car in operation. Like many people, we've been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs or a description, but only to get there and find out it's got an obvious fault that shows up when you drive it, which can be hugely frustrating. We also do it on these very quiet country roads in this beautiful part of Gloucestershire. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, and hope is, of course, it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you go on a drive in the car. So coming to the car, as you know from the walk around section in the advert, it's been very, very well looked after, and it's immediately obvious as soon as you get in the car. Some cars just have that lovely feeling straight away, just feel tight and taut, and this is certainly one of those. Press the start button, engine starts instantly, whirs into life. It settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, and temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle. I've said countless times, Honda build the best 4-cylinder engines in the world, and this is just another classic example of why it is the most reliable and longest lasting engine in its class. Very tough and reliable with good regular maintenance. They're cam chain driven, so there's no cam belts to worry about on them either. But more than that, it's just the way they drive. It's just such a lovely engine. It's quiet, it's sweet, it's got a lovely sweet edge to the engine notes. When you put your foot down, you get it's that lovely sweet mechanical hum, none of the kind of the thrashiness you get with some of its competitors. Lovely unit. Engine then feeds through into the auto gearbox. Honda gearboxes, like the engines, are renowned for being very tough and reliable over big mileages. Gear ratios obviously selected by Honda to get the best out of the engine, both in terms of economy and performance. So it's a compromise between the two, and it does a very fine job of it. The gear shifts themselves are very slick and smooth on the move. And notwithstanding reputation for reliability, you should always do the same checks on any automatic car. Just make sure the gear changes are smooth, and they are. But when you select drive or reverse, particularly from stationary, obviously from stationary, there shouldn't be any sort of clunks or thunks as it engages. And again, in every single sense, it's absolutely spot on. So coming to the steering and chassis, Honda were light years ahead of the game with these things. They were one of the pioneers of this segment, really, and the first really to make a proper car-like drive for the car. It's taken a lot of manufacturers, some still aren't there yet. And it starts with the steering. It's very accurate and precise. It's nicely weighted. It's not over light, which I hate on cars, but it's very confidence inspiring. It never unsettles the car. And as I say, it just goes exactly where you point it. It tracks dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. And the rest of the car is actually just genius, but completely misunderstood by the motoring press, as they always do. They say that most cars in this class, they're quite dull to drive. They're not exciting. They're not meant to be. It's not a sports car. It's a family car to get from A to B. But what it does, as well as a sports car you might handle brilliantly, this does what it's meant to do, as well as any kind of car of that type. Because it's all about compromise with suspension. What Honda have done, and they've done it brilliantly for years, is to give you a very compliant, comfortable, well-judged ride. But when you do go through corners, unlike some cars, some of its competitors will initially feel kind of more comfortable, sort of very spongy and float over the surfaces, which is great until you start to go through a corner, and then they lean over and they get those horrible secondary motions which can be really nauseating. But when you go through little junctions like this with the CR-V, you just turn it in, hardly any motion, it's totally settled. And those are the tiny details which make it so accomplished over longer trips, over more challenging roads, because it masters pretty much every road very, very well indeed. Suspension, by the way, just this section of road, I always talk about it when I can there, because it's like the surface of the moon. No clonks, no rattles from underneath the car, so all very, very solid. Brakes themselves are fantastic. I noticed it's had recent discs and pads fitted to the front of the car when we checked it over, so the brakes are in very good order. And then coming inside, videos cannot get across build quality, of course, but they are beautifully put together cars. No squeaks, no rattles. 11 years old, you'd never believe it. But the overriding impression when you first get in these cars is, you've got really good visibility. You feel very confident as soon as you get in and drive them. Loads of people say it. People who may have had smaller cars in the past have said, "Oh, I'm not sure. It's quite a big car." But then when they've driven it on test drive, they've all come back to a man, to a woman, and said, it was the opposite of what they thought. It was just a very easy car to come to terms with. It doesn't intimidate. This one, of course, is fitted with this lovely interior. I adore this interior on these cars. Whenever I get my CR-Vs, I try and get it with this. The reason being is, it's not only does it sort of brighten up the interior cosmetically in terms of, it's not just a sea of black, which you get in lots of cars. So you don't get that kind of slightly depressing, claustrophobic almost sense to the interior on black cars, and I've got a black interior on my personal one at the moment, but I'd much rather this. But the fact is also it's really good because on hot summer days, and we have had a couple, when you get in the car, it doesn't burn the back of your legs when you get in the seats. It doesn't generate as much heat inside. And on freezing cold days, you don't get that ice cold feeling. It just warms up the look of the interior. I think it's just gorgeous. And as I said in the walk-around video, the videos never, for some reason, really do it justice. It's a lovely interior, and it blends beautifully with the rest of the car. It's not kind of overdone. The dash itself, simplicity itself. A couple of days in the car, you've mastered it. One of the easiest sat navs you're ever going to use, all working perfectly. Dual zone climate control, so you can have different temperatures side to side if you feel that way inclined. It's pumping out absolutely ice cold air, by the way. As I always say, you press a button in one of these Hondas, twist a knob, and you've got a satisfying, damped, high quality feel to all of their controls. And then your dash binnacle front, just simplicity itself, just crisp dials, very simple to take the information in, because that's what it's designed to do, and Honda do that very well. And then finally the leather bound steering wheel, which feels great in hand, and like the rest of the interior, in lovely condition. This is a four-wheel drive version of the CR-V, albeit you don't do anything, it's completely automatic. Honda worked out very quickly many years ago that most people would be driving as I am right now, 99% of their driving in this segment of the car market, where you don't need four-wheel drive on. So basically it runs in two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, which is the most efficient way to pull a car along pretty much the whole time. Only if it needs to go to four-wheel drive will it do so, and it does it itself via the traction control system of the car, which can react far more quickly than you ever could. So as soon as it senses the front wheel start to slip on a bit of mud, snow or ice, it seamlessly brings in the rear wheels to give you four-wheel drive, and it's incredibly efficient in the way it does it. We tow a caravan with ours, and we've never come close to getting stuck with one. The advantages of the system are patently obvious. By not being on the whole time, you're going to save fuel, tyre wear, and it puts far less mechanical stress to the vehicle as well. So much so, as I always say, that we've been selling these things for nearly 3 decades and have sold thousands of them. And I cannot remember putting a spanner on the four-wheel drive system on any of them. So they are very robust indeed. As I said at the start, just to pick up on any issues on the car, I can't find anything. It drives absolutely beautifully.